Good morning. I don't know if you are aware, but as we talked last week about developing a vision of what Jesus' love would look like in us, and then on Thursday we talked about employing the means of Bible memorization, memorizing 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7. How's that going? And as we did that, we began to talk about a very deep and important subject. Remember, we quoted Dallas Willard as saying Bible memorization was the primary discipline for the thought life. Well, that brings up a question, doesn't it? Well, then what other dimensions or aspects of life are there that need to be formed like Christ besides thought life? Glad you asked. Dallas Willard is the expert on this subject, and he points out that the Bible addresses 6 aspects of who we are as humans. They are, he puts these 3 all in the same category: spirit, heart, and will, which is the unbodily personal power at our core that makes us like Him. All right, so that's heart, or spirit, or will, when the Bible addresses those. The Bible also addresses thought life, as we talked about last week. And so we won't go there again. But it talks about feelings as well, which is very close to thought life. You know, you can't really feel something unless you're thinking about it. And when you do feel something, you do think about it. So they're definitely tied together. Feelings are what incline us towards or away from the thoughts that are before our minds. They're either, pleasant and attracting, or they may be painful and unattracting. And so, even though the thought life is what brings something before our minds, sometimes the feelings is what determines if they stay there. And then there's the social aspect of ourselves. We as humans require to be rooted in other relationships, and the primary relationship is God. But we also know that there's the power of peer pressure, and so for that reason it's very important. The social aspect is very important for our spiritual formation. Last of all is the soul. The soul is the overarching dimension that sort of interrelates everything. So Dallas Willard says, simply put, every human thinks, that is, has a thought life, feels, chooses, interacts with his body and his social context, and integrates these. So the ideal is when all of these are effectively organized around God. That's what the Bible would call godliness. Spiritual formation is the process of leading us to that, and so that we can then love the Lord our God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our strength, all our mind, and we can love our neighbor as ourselves. Each aspect will either be a weakness or a strength to us as a whole. So let me give you a few verses dealing with the different aspects of these. Social, 1 John 4:20. Will and flesh, Matthew 26:41. Mind, Romans 8:6. Soul, Psalm 42:5. Mark 7:21, heart, again. And if you want to see all of them relating together, read Psalm 16, verse 7 through 9. And as you read through these verses, I want you to ask God, which aspect of these do you need to allow Him to work on so that His compassionate love will be free in you? And then I'd like to know what that is. Share that with me so I can be praying with you, but also share it with some other person who can be praying with you about that.